President-elect Bill Clinton will take office in less than a month, but area environmental leaders are sending word to him now for stricter environmental standards. The Louisiana Environmental Action Network wants major environmental reforms within Clinton's first 100 days in office. One group is calling for an end to what it calls environmental racism. WAFB's Glenn Boyd reports.
You are looking at the northern tip of what some environmentalists call Cancer Alley. These are chemical companies. They stretch from New Orleans to the northernest corner of East Baton Rouge.
Our communities are right across the street from them.
This is where Florence Robinson lives. She's a biologist who says research shows chemical companies more often than not set up operations in minority-populated areas. She calls it environmental racism. Robinson says she has some numbers to back up her claim. In 1990, Robinson says 15 million pounds of toxins were emitted into the air in East Baton Rouge. But she claims 80% of those toxins were emitted in this area alone.
For the total East Baton Rouge area, this amounts to approximately 40 pounds of toxic chemicals released per person. But in the Scotlandville area, this release is 269 pounds per person. And of course, Scotlandville is 92% black.
But Robinson is not alone in her fight for environmental reform. Area environmentalists are also calling on the new Clinton administration for environmental changes. It comes as Louisiana leads the way in toxic discharges into our land, water, and air.
The environmental equity problem is real, that our low-income minority communities are heavily impacted, particularly here in Louisiana.
But the Chemical Association says it's addressing the concerns raised by the minority community. Richard Kleiner denies there was a subconscious attempt to place chemical companies in African-American communities.
Nevertheless, we recognize that we operate in the same communities in which many minority folks live, and we have an obligation to those communities to recognize their concerns, work with them to reduce our emissions, and make the community better for everybody.
Kleiner says his group has already gone before the Civil Rights Commission, outlining the association's plan for environmental equity. Robinson hopes the Clinton administration will put a halt to air toxic emissions. Right now, she says, she suffers with respiratory problems caused by the chemicals in the air. Though there's no scientific proof of that, Robinson says Cancer Alley is for real. Glenn Boyd, WAFB News.
Environmentalists, white and black, say they believe they have a friend in Washington with Al Gore as vice president. Remember, during the campaign, President Bush referred to Gore as Mr. Ozone.